So I'm Karim Amin, and at News Corp, you might be familiar with the publications that we own, so the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, HarperCollins, and what my team does there is basically look at building new products that might be helpful across many of our businesses to explore the future of how we publish and how can we take control of all the new mediums media that's coming out, digital media, how we can empower some of our journalists to create interesting stories on those devices. And I think the really interesting thing that my team is focusing on is the idea that journalists are being taken further away from their end product. So the story is theirs, but the way that they see it or the way that it's visualized on these different devices is not in their control because you have a set of layers between them and the finished product. So you have designers and you have developers. And as Mark Hansen was talking earlier, there's this new influx of data that you can create stories from. The thing is, you can only create stories on these new mediums and using this new technology if you are a programmer, so right, if you know the language to create this, story. And so we have two. Basically, there's two ways to empower journalists to do that. Either journalists learn how to program, which is a viable solution, but it takes a longer time, and we can't expect everybody to do that. And this brings us to kind of my seed project, which is a way for us to empower journalists to do that visually without learning how to program, but being able to connect these different components together to create stories and interactive graphics and all kinds of other things that we haven't imagined yet. So I'll show you a quick demo right now of a early prototype. So there's no design around this. It's created by one of my colleagues, Sepand. And I think what it does is it shows you the promise of what this technology can do. So here we just put in a CSV file. So this is a file with some data in it, right? And you can easily filter it. You can easily do all kinds of different manipulations to it. And this, if you're not familiar, is really difficult to do if you don't know, HTML and JavaScript and CSS and all these different technologies that you need to know in order to do things on the web. But you as a journalist or someone who's interested in creating this could easily put in this CSV file, and then you can come here, and this is our really early control panel. You can say take the output of this file and connect it to the input of this bar chart, right? And with just one click, you now have this data on the left-hand bar chart representing the graph, or graphing the CSV file. You can also do the same thing to the stack chart, so you can have a different viewpoint on the data. So now you have these two graphs connected to the data, and you can easily, let's take a look at row from 0 to 5. And the graphs reflect your choices. You can easily, resize these graphs. You can do all kinds of different manipulations to them. But now, I think the really exciting thing about this is that we're giving back the power of shaping the story to the person who has the idea. You don't have to go through a designer to change the font. You don't have to go through a developer to represent, the information in a different way. And I think this is the beginning of something that can be extremely powerful. And so what our seed challenge is creating a working group to explore what kind of other charts, graphs, components do we need to enable journalists to create stories and to explore data using this. And we're collaborating initially with Columbia and NYU, so some of the speakers that you saw before, Mark Hansen and Luc Dubois. And we're looking to have you participate and help us shape this open source project to allow journalists to be able to do the same things that developers can do today. That's it for me. Thanks a lot.